Yeah, everybody else tuning in. Welcome to Daddy's Gertie Library. We're talking about brand spanking new anime this season, Metallic Rouge. This is episode one. Crimson is the sound of dawn.
Big Daddy!
Production.
Oh, so suddenly you're poison the air I breathe. But if you don't hate me, then why would you break me? Feel it in my bones, I'm about to lose control. Only so much I'm taking, so get yourself to safety. Cause baby, a storm is coming. You better heed the warning, pray. Don't stay, run away, 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 away. Feel how the rain is pouring. I'm a jet like a hurricane. Don't stay, away, 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 away. So suddenly you're poison the air I breathe. But if you don't hate me, then why would you break me? Feel it in my bones, I'm about to lose control. Only so much I'm thinking, so get yourself to safety. Cause baby, a storm is coming. You better heed the warning, pray. Don't stay, run away, 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 away. Feel how the rain is pouring. I'm with you like a hurricane. Don't stay, run away, 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 away. Feel how the rain is pouring. I'm with you like a hurricane. Don't stay, away, away, away.
I remember the day we met. It was raining just like this.
I
Love the
mean,
name.
wow. Metallic Rouge, Crimson is the sound of dawn. Like these guys, they have all the energy of naming things dedicated on this side. And on the other side, you have like, oh, should I fall in love with it? Is it okay to fall in love with people in the dungeon?
Yeah,
Reincarnated
actually,
slime? It's like,
this is a nice derive from that,
yeah,
over wording on a title.
yeah. And I was super hyped for this one because when I saw the little bit that I did see in the trailer before watching the episode, got me excited. It got me thinking about Bubblegum Crisis, like these old animes and these old genres about these female protagonists that aren't really explored in any major way since then. And like a weird, interesting sci-fi kind of world, cyberpunk-esque type of atmosphere. It was just I was super excited for it. And when I watched the episode, I loved it. I
I
loved it.
felt a bit underwhelmed.
So what
Yeah.
is it that really that made you feel that way about it?
So I felt like we got a lot of information that didn't add up. We got a lot of like
Mm,
character info that just fell flat. Okay,
mm,
I understand so far. Well, let's first dive into it. Let's dive into what the story is. It seems like we have a nine king situation trying to defeat the other kings. I love a lot about the series. I love a lot. I enjoy this type of detective work. seeing different perspective, kind of espionage-ish, and human interactions versus androids. And I think that's the theme here.
So I mean, I do hear what you're saying, and those are appropriate critiques because they do throw a lot of information at you, and you don't really have a firm grasp of any
I'm
what's
because
going
I
on. You
don't
just got
know
this
if
little
our
snapshot.
characters are actually good characters. Are we
Yeah.
seeing this from protag or antagonist?
Well, see,
This is
that's something that I really enjoy about it. I really enjoy because this is such a layered. I'm so used to lately. I mean, with a few exceptions, the stories have been super simple. And some of
Mhm.
them are like good, super simple, like Demon Slayer. Some of them are bad, super simple, like Name Your Anime. You know, like it's just have the list of anime that's come out in the last like 4 seasons. Just throw a dart. You got probably 9 out of 10 chance you picked one that I'm talking about. You know, so I was just ready for something that was a little bit more layered. And this one was like, I mean, they have it, and we've seen it before. We've seen the whole Android and people thing. And like I think iRobot did it the most interesting way with the whole code about not hurting people and then finding or do everything that you can to protect people. And but that means that they'll make the choice of protecting the guy who dove in to the car to save the kid, and they'll save the guy, and they'll leave the little kid to drown because the little kid has less of a chance of survival than the adult, and they're programmed to maximize. So I mean, we've seen that done before, but
But I like how it's done here. It's the
yeah,
reverse.
right,
It's
where
the
it's
humans being extra stupid to androids. They're fighting for their survival just to be able to exist and not be scrapped.
But see, and this makes more sense to me than anything because how many people take advantage of a product or a system because it makes their life easier, or how many people get upset when they get inconvenienced. So I mean, this makes sense where oh they got nicknames, they're looking down on androids. They're like, oh well, this thing can do wonders for me, and I just want to mess around with and there's no repercussion. I mean, we see it on social media, people online like they say all kind of wild shit online, but then if you're face to face, you know, so I mean, this makes sense. Like this makes sense for society to move in this direction if this level of technology exists. So immediately I was like, I believe this world. And that's not even like the center piece of the story. It's just that's just the world. That's just
Yeah.
what the world is. And then they move into a lot more late. I mean, they have that, and then there's something that the bartender said, you're some kind of idiot to believe that they're connected to the visitors. It's like, wait, there's a name for it? Does that mean that there's also aliens in this world? It's like, these are layers.
Very cyber 2710.
Yeah, so there's
Very
layers built upon
futuristic.
this.
Like, yeah.
And then on top of that, now you find out that there's these robots, these androids that alters that can kind of sidestep what they're programmed to do. So it's like,
Mhm.
oh, that's a whole other world right there. So right now we've already gone 3 deep. We haven't even talked about any of the characters. So I was like, whoa, like this
So
is
that's where I have the problem, where
hmm,
I feel like we just dove several layers deep and we kind of forgot to talk about the characters. I don't even know who this girl is. Rouge.
yeah.
Why did she go after this?
Well,
There was.
they're kind of suggesting it because, like, I mean,
Mhm.
the way that they set up, so they got these layers, and then on top of that, they also have, I mean, out of some of the interactions, they're playing around with concepts like the real me and the new me that everybody knows. Then they talk about the Immortal Nine, and like, oh, they're part of maybe they're the same thing as the Alters, and the Red Knight's probably just an agent of Ilithia. And it's like, oh wait, what's an agent of Ilithia? What is Ilithia? What's the
So
policy? We
many
don't know, but
questions.
it's like, yeah, there's
So
there's
many
so many questions.
questions. So many things.
So,
I'm excited for it.
okay,
Yeah.
so you're just
But like that.
frustrated that they didn't really.
Well, and I hate to skip around always, but I skip
No, go
around
for it, man.
anyway and always say it. It's the fact that in the end she killed the android who was a singer, and they didn't tell us why she
Okay,
needed to die. Well, she didn't seem like she did anything wrong. She seemed like she was just trying to live a peaceful life. She just wanted to
Mm,
sing. Of course, there were some underlying factors of like what was going on in the background, like who's this guy that she's with and so forth. But in the end, it felt like we just killed one of these nine without really saying why. Is it causing something bad? Like she even went out of her way to see Rouge, who she saw as someone who was like struggling.
yeah,
So
yeah,
for me to see
yeah.
this, like Rouge was kind of like the Cloud character who's just like mission go. And I'm like, okay,
Mm,
okay,
mm,
this was a bit why. I like it so far.
mm,
The animation, the music, the world of it, I love it. But I don't understand the story. Like as an
mm.
introduction, I felt like it was a bit wild. Like you just told me a lot of words that didn't really compile together, and you expect me to understand what the series
I don't think
is
I think it's the
starting with.
opposite. I don't think it's that they expect you to understand it. I think it's like they're expecting you to start to get a grasp of it. Like the when I follow everything, I think you're supposed to be confused. So I think the whole theme here is point out how human these androids are, how they're just trying to live their lives, and how not everybody, but there's people that are just absolute dickheads towards them. And this overarching thing, the whatever Alithia is, that's trying to impose their will of maintaining the status quo. So for whatever
Could be.
reason, maybe there's another reason. Maybe they just like the people being dickheads to these neons, these androids, or maybe there's another reason why they have to maintain this level of order. But so far, the way that it's introduced, I mean, you kind of don't like Rouge as a character because you're seeing her and
Because
you're like, whoa, you
she's
killed this person who helped you
forgetful.
out.
She just doesn't
She's
care. Her
yeah,
mission was
one
to
track mind,
grasp her anyway.
and
I'm
then
like, okay, but
and the
then she doesn't
robot,
even know the bird lady. I'm like, so you're working with this
right?
person?
Oh
This
yeah,
this is what I meant. Like
thanks for
it
supporting
felt
me.
like it was a whole bunch of unconnected connections.
But you know what? No, no, no. But I think the biggest part of it that would make you like not like her character, made me not like her character. I mean, I like her as a character, but I was like, I don't think she's a good person. I don't like her. I don't think she's like morally. I don't think her moral compass even exists. The guy,
Right.
the android, the neon that helped her, you like when she fell down and that human had messed her up, bumped into her intentionally, it looked like that neon, the guy, he helped her find whatever she was looking for. She was super grateful. And then later on, she sees the guys like messing around with she sees them messing around with the nectar, or maybe has a sense. And then she turns the corner and she sees the interaction that the dude is having with the other girl. Like, oh yeah, don't worry. Doesn't do anything about it. Then later on, fast forward, she sees his body just laying in the alleyway getting picked up. No emotion.
Well, she's an android.
Right, but you saw her get
But
emotional when he found the thing. She's like, "Oh my God, thank you." So she's capable of emotion, but for some reason she didn't feel shit for this guy. So like, does she look down on androids? Is she an android herself, or is she one of these humans that take the nectar because like, oh, it takes you to this great place? So I just don't know. Like, are the same things the altered lady, Viola, um,
mhm.
who was posing as Sarah Fitzgerald, she was like, "Oh, you're just like us. You would know. You're like us altered." Like, what does that mean that you're a human who takes nectar or alter yourself to be able to take nectar? Or does that mean you're an android who is able to somehow find a
So many
way to
questions
alter
that we
yourself
can only
to
make assumptions on. And that's what I mean. Like, I wish it was a
mm,
little bit more fleshed out so I wouldn't have to, like, it's
I
not
get
bad to
what you're
have these
saying.
questions, but I don't want to fill in at the
Yeah,
beginning of a series to try to understand this is why the character's this way, you know? Like,
I get what you're
I
saying.
guess maybe
It's
I've been
mhm.
oversaturated with like the series that have come out recently to tell me everything about a character at the beginning and then
Mm,
everything about their goal and yada yada yada.
yeah. I
But
get
I
that. I
guess
get that. I mean, especially when you compare it. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm so excited to
mm,
talk about it. So, but I just didn't want to lose this point, my bad. But when you made the comparison about oh, like she's like a cloud character. Well, you compare this to Final Fantasy VII, where like at the beginning, yeah, you get a snapshot this moment in time, but they're explaining yeah, you know what, we're come on, man, don't you care about this? And he's explaining the whole mission. So it's like, yeah, this seems like a natural conversation, but it's also an introduction, and now you understand everything from the beginning. Whereas this one, you don't understand anything. You get the snapshot in the life of, but you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
so compare, I get your frustration when you've been spoiled with this, and then you see that, you're like, come on, man, what's going on? Because that's exactly how I felt in certain parts of Jujutsu Kaisen. So I understand exactly how you feel. For some reason, it's not affecting me that way because
Because it's
I'm
the beginning of the series.
it's the beginning. I'm excited for how this is going to the potential that this has to blossom. It's like in
Mhm.
Bleach in the beginning, like they have all these things working for it, and you're like, wow, where is this going? I really like this makeup.
Here's what I like about it, and what I fear about it as well
Mm,
is I love the armors.
mm,
Armors are amazing. This is like one of the coolest things I've ever seen of, transformations. They're armored up beings and whatnot. Like I love the aesthetic of it.
mm-hmm.
There's several different ones. Like we got introduced to three in one episode.
Yeah,
The the one who died for Lady Fitzgerald, and
yeah.
the Harley Quinnish of like
The
the
Joker guy,
trickster.
the
Yeah, the
hell,
Joker.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love his character being like this manipulative and changing and able to look like others to mimic was cool. I was like, oh wait,
Yeah.
I thought she was the main character of this. Oh, it was the switch.
Mm-hmm.
This blew my mind, and then she was one of them. Like, what is going on? So here's where I fear. Um, I feel like this is going to be marketing for toys and
Ah,
figurines, and I
okay,
hope this series isn't going to be like just a cash grab
okay.
for a very cool aesthetic and expect that to be the payout and not be an actual story. Like, I hope this isn't just like, oh, it's for kids. Kids like battle anime, this and that. Here's some cool tools. That's it. Like, I hope it's not just a cash grab anime. Like,
Mm,
we've seen that in several different series. Like, yeah, there's some story behind it, not that deep, and here's the toys.
yeah. I mean, it's funny. I I share that fear because I thought that the end, I didn't like the ending as much. Like I really liked the build up. Like everything was building up
Hmm.
towards this moment, and then the spy games that were going on, the bird, the understanding the world building, and seeing these characters and different elements, and seeing the Joker guy like playing around, and oh wait, oh he got really sick, and and then seeing him like, oh, playing around and trying to set up the red armor knight at this one crime scene, and he's like, yeah, the Red Knight took everything. Wait, no, he just took everything. He just pretended that it was the Red Knight, so now everybody thinks it's the Red Knight. Now everyone's turning their eyes on the Red Knight. Who knows if the powers that be are against, if that's different from the Alithia, whatever. Like, I don't, there's a
Hmm.
lot of, so I really like the build up of everything, especially I mean, the Joker guy was just my favorite character. Like, I just like how conniving and how twisted he
Yeah,
was.
how he played his part. Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah was my second favorite character. I just loved her, like just looking out for everybody, trying to protect Rouge before she knew. And even when the Joker just like tossed her around, she's like, "Well, you just caught some innocent bystander because of your paranoia." And then it's like, "Oh, then this happened." And then she's like, but then she's having this conversation with Rouge in the midst of fighting her, and then she's like, "Hey, well, what's wrong with just wanting?" So it's like I really like that the dynamics of the different characters. But I thought that the fight scene was underwhelming. I thought it was beautifully
Yes.
animated, but I expected more. And then
Yes.
and then the Joker just randomly, haha, showtime, baby. I'm like, I could have done without that. Like you didn't have to do
You
that.
didn't
Like
announce
I
it.
like
You
I
didn't
like
have
you
to
being a
announce it was
spy.
gonna fight.
Like stay in the shadows. Stop it.
Like just do a weird flip where you turn into a two-dimensional character and like a card appears and you disappear. I like that
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
CGI as well. I like that it's all
yes,
animated.
yeah.
Um,
So I am afraid because
the
they seem like they're just showcasing these again super cool powers. They're all,
mhm.
the the fight was good. I
Here's
didn't
what it
think that
made
it,
me
it
think of
measured up to the spy game.
Mega Man ZX, where it's like the biometal of the souls, and humans can use these biometals and transform into it. And
Mm,
that's what it made me think of when I saw the armors at the ending,
mm.
where you see all the different armors, all the different things like in the fight. And I'm like, just like, this, I really hope this isn't just a cash grab. I hope this is a really cool story. It could be a phenomenal game, but so far, Metallic Rouge is underwhelming. The character, like, and her
Oh,
armor,
okay.
a bit underwhelming. Like,
Well,
I
I
saw the
think
blades and I'm
it's
like,
probably
okay, here, but
I think
we
her
didn't
she
really
has an
fight.
ability to
Just like,
adapt to anything.
God.
I I think what it is that and I'm just basing this off of I think it was the intro or maybe the outro. Like I think I saw her armor, but it had like all these wings, and I was like, huh. But maybe she could adapt to a bunch of situations, and the fact that the other girl Naomi was like, take a couple hits. That way I could analyze her and I could,
Yeah, I guess you did limit her too, so
yeah. So
you can't
maybe
see everything.
yeah, maybe like the ability to adapt to everything has pays the cost of you have to be able to have all that take all whatever experience all that damage before dying before being able to adapt. So maybe this again, yeah, I think a lot of it that I'm excited for is my
Mutilation.
hopes for the series and
Mm-hmm.
what I've seen in the beginning with the characters in the build up in the spy games more than the fight between the mechtastic characters. But I will say this, God Eater, great series, was and it was just to advertise this game. Um Cowboy Bebop to advertise the ships, phenomenal series, minus the live action. So I mean this element, so it has the possibility, but I could see what you're saying, and it could go one way or the other. I won't defend it like that. I'll
I
just say
no,
that
I'm glad you
I'm
mentioned
optimistic about it.
Cowboy Bebop, because of it does give me um some of those quirks about it. Like I feel like it could be an episodic story per story, and
Mm,
or like a whole story within a story per story. Like I think
yeah,
it has potential to be that way. Like
yeah,
every episode of Cowboy Bebop was phenomenal, except for, some episodes we won't talk about.
yeah.
But like every episode had its own story, it had its own development, it had its own like dynamic. And you know what? If Metallic Rouge is this lofty of a character to not really take in someone she just met and be too personal about it, that might be a good thing. That might be a
Mm.
good thing where she's not going to be like, oh, but this one person, yeah, maybe we don't need that anymore. Maybe we have too much saturation of like the character feeling for everyone they meet.
Mm. Or maybe it's like this is how she's set up as a character in the beginning, but she evolves as things happen, and as she's learning, so are we, and we start to
Mhm.
realize that, like, hopefully, it doesn't just boil down to like, oh yeah, there's these 9 people, you gotta take out these 9 people. And she's at the end, it's like episode 12, like, mission accomplished, game over. It's like, no, hopefully, there's a lot more than that, and it's just like there's this world exploration, this world building, this character development, finding something messed up with the powers that be, or maybe this organization that she's actually working with, and then like feeling really bad, or maybe, Fitzgerald's still alive in some shape or form in
Yeah,
that
because it didn't
orb that
really
she took.
seem like she
So
died to me. It
yeah, she did.
was
At least she
kind
didn't.
of
Yeah, short circuit like the other dude did. So I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of other things.
I
I'm
think it
hoping that
looked,
it's. Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
it looked like she just took her energy ball from
Yeah,
transforming,
she took
because
her ball.
yeah, her Dragon Ball from
Yay!
transformation,
Yay!
transformation Dragon Ball, or her biometal. Yes, that's actually a perfect analogy. She took her
Mm,
biometal out from transforming, and I
you
think
know, Mm.
Maybe that's what stopped her. I don't know.
Something else like how Mega Man X started. You just teleported there. Go. No explanation. No story. You don't even get anything until you finish that first level. So
Well, back then you
hopefully,
had to read the book.
no, you didn't have, but you didn't have to read the book.
I know,
You could
but
just
that's how
play
you got the
around.
introduction back
Yeah,
then.
but you could play around and then, but I mean, eventually you get an introduction. But I'm hoping that it leans more. It has so many elements and I don't know if this is hyped, but it is translated into like six plus different languages, and that's not common for an episode one. So
You're right. You're right. So
hopefully,
they are doing
hopefully
this big.
there's a lot of effort into this. So I think that this is gonna be. I see a lot of signs, and maybe I'm just personally hopeful,
It
optimistic that
did
this is gonna
remind
be.
me of Bubblegum Crisis. I went back to
Yeah.
watch episode one and I'm like singing in the beginning. Huh.
Yeah. Right, right, right. I was just thinking, oh yeah,
Interesting.
females in the robot armor and protagonist. But yeah, the singing in the beginning. Damn. Wow. And I'm hoping,
So
and you know what? It's because I really love that series, at least from what I remember, and that big twist about like, oh wait, we're using these things that was what we're actually fighting against, and that's the whole thing that's giving us the power to fight against them in the first place. And that was a whole dark twist at the end. Like it was such a great story, great build up, all these awesome, really strong characters. So I'm hoping that something that this comes close to that at least. If
like at
it's
least has enough to like be something of a same genre in there. Like if it's gonna be
yeah.
in this genre, at least be as good as this. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I
Story wise.
mean, and I think it's something that we need, not just because everything's simple, because again, like I love Demon Slayer. So it's not that the simple is bad, but it's that the complicated adds a variety that's lacking from the choices. And there's 42 animes this season. I need something to be a little
I
different than
mean,
the others.
we all saw the anime trailers, and out of those 42, I think five of them were okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I hope that this is one of them. At least I think this will be fun and enjoyable to review. So this is a good one to pick. But I mean, solo leveling it looks good, and I love the dungeon one, the dungeon cooking monsters one. That one. I
Really?
love that. I love that. Yeah, so far.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Fearin, the Wandering Elf. I'm telling you, man, it's worth a watch.
You're gonna have to tell me about it, man, because I couldn't get into it. I only gave it one episode, but I mean that's usually my metric now. I'm just like, nope, doesn't look like something I'm gonna enjoy.
We got to do the JoJo threes. It's a staple that has lived with me throughout my time of anime, ever since the first three episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, of how crazy Phantom Blood was. And I watched the JoJo series before that, and was already a fan. But those staple three,
No, it was yeah,
that day.
that's true. But I was curious in episode one. I watched JoJo episode one. I was like, I gotta know what. I couldn't stop watching it. So if you can't entice me in the first episode, I don't have a lot of faith in your writing ability. I mean, there's animes that have a great first episode, but I critique the hell out of later on, or I critique the hell out of the first episode. But at least it was
I'll
good enough
say
for me
this
to
about
continue.
Farron, and I know we shouldn't put this in recording here, but
That's fine.
it's a
Yeah.
slower pace that has a lot of, you know, lead-in ties later, which I really like. Like it's
That's
worth the wait.
Okay. Maybe I'll circle back to that. But so far,
And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it another time.
yeah.
But like and subscribe, guys. Let us know your thoughts, your opinions on Metallic Rouge, the new Bubblegum Crisis.